Hello and welcome to today's episode of Perfectly Paired with Chef Jim May. We're doing a fun and festive dish for the holidays that's going to be easy to make, but I have a special guest joining us today, the co-founder and co-owner of Papa Pietro Perry Winery, Renee Perry. And she's bringing a bottle of wine.
Hi everyone.
She's always welcome.
And I heard what we were having for our special meal today. I knew I had to show up, and I got a beautiful bottle of 2018 Nunes with me, so that it'll go deliciously perfect with the dish that we're making today.
One of my choices too. So today we're going to be starting with a filet mignon. Now you see them in the store already cut. This is a filet roast. You can get it at your butcher's anywhere from 2 to 6 pounds. This is about 2.5 pounds. It is tied. I tied it and I seared it off in a hot pan, 2 minutes on each side. So it just browns it. We want to keep it rare in the middle, so it's going to cook inside puff pastry as it goes along. So what I did is I took this, I tied it so no pieces flop around, and I'm going to end up cutting this apart and then assembling it.
So the tail of the fillet is a little thinner than the rest, so that's what you tied up?
This is the head actually, and the tail you fold over and tie it so it stays all together. So I've tied it, I've browned it off, I let it cool for half an hour, and I take off these twine, because we don't really want to eat that later.
Yummy.
Yeah. And what I'm going to do is coat this in some salt and pepper, and then rub it or coat it with some Dijon mustard. There we go. Just give it some salt and pepper. On both sides.
Is that about a teaspoon?
Yeah, about a teaspoon of each actually, because I like it nice and peppery.
Yeah, me too.
Good. And we'll get rid of that, and I'll get some mustard. So, like I said, it's quite simple, it's quite elegant, but it does take a few steps. So this is this. Now that's all ready to assemble. Like I said, it's been seared off and cooled for about a half an hour. And another thing that I've made ahead of time is what's called, oh, that'd be good. You want to hand me that bowl,
Yeah,
that
sure.
brown bowl? So I've taken about 8 slices, thin slices of prosciutto, and put it on some plastic wrap that's about 3-4 inches up over that. And I'm going to take some duxelles, which is you can make ahead of time. It's basically mushrooms. I used white mushrooms. You could use brown cremini if you want. Garlic, shallots, mushrooms, red wine, and you cook it down. You put it in the processor so it's very fine.
In the food processor?
Yeah, just make it, and then you just smear it on here. This is going to be the top of the beef Wellington. In the old days, they used to put pate on the top.
Oh yeah, that's...
Yeah, there's another way, but it's I think the more 20th century version, and what works really well with Pinot Noir is the mushrooms, because it's full of umami as well as the prosciutto. So you want all these flavors to come through.
Does anybody ever make it with fancy mushrooms?
Like
chanterelles?
Chanterelles, you certainly can if you have chanterelles. I saw them in the store the other day. They were $60 a pound.
Very expensive.
but I do go to a ranch every year that often has chanterelles for the picking. Put that away. So we've got that. This goes on to here, and I'm going to roll this, putting that on that end, that on that end, and you roll it and tighten it up. And now at this point, it goes in the fridge again for another half an hour. And that keeps it firm, and then we'll work on the pastry. So the wine that she brought is actually one of my favorites to go with this dish. It's a 2018 Russian River Nunes Vineyard. It's a warmer vineyard for Pinot Noir, so it has a lot more depth, more color, stands up to all those mushrooms and prosciutto and those beefy flavors I made a little red wine sauce with some of this earlier that you can serve with it if you like. You can do horseradish, you can do whatever you want. But the flavors in here, it's got that more dark cherry. It's got enough tannins and youthful fruit to hold up to it. It's a great accompaniment to the beef Wellington. The second one is, which is on the website, which is a slightly different version, is the salmon Wellington. And you take a side of salmon. It's totally different timing, totally different ingredients. There's more citrus and lemon and different ingredients to go with the salmon. But it's equally as delicious with the Pinot Noir.
So if you're not a meat eater, you really should check it out because it really was delicious. Jim made it for us for lunch one time. We just loved it.
Good.
And any of our Pinots, I mean, if you don't have Nunes in your wine cellar, I'm pretty sure any Pinot Noir is going to go perfectly with this dish. Mushrooms, prosciutto, beef, it's all just yelling and calling for Pinot Noir.
Absolutely. Actually, let me get a couple glasses so we can...
yeah, we better have a glass.
Yeah, make sure it's delicious.
It makes cooking a lot more fun.
There we go. It is afternoon.
Thank you.
And cheers to the holidays.
Cheers to the start.
There we go.
Beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Delicious. Lots of dark fruit depth to it. Like I said, going to be wonderful with this dish.
Kind of wonderful just the way it is.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is take some puff pastry, 2 sheets. I'm going to take some flour and spread it out here so it doesn't stick.
And this is puff pastry you just bought in the grocery store, right?
You can buy it if you're really ambitious and you really have a lot of time on your hands. You can certainly make it. It needs perfect temperatures and a lot of steps. But this was purchased in the freezer section. You can get this, and we're going to flour the
stick with the refrigerator section.
Yeah, I do too. Used to work at a restaurant where they had a walk-in refrigerator that was made just for making puff pastry.
Wow.
So what we want to do is spread this out a little bit. Right there. 1/4 inch thickness at the most. If it splits like this, you can pinch it together. Add a little water if you need to.
And you won't be afraid if there's flour showing up like that?
No.
Doesn't matter?
No, it'll work its way out.
Okay.
So I want to get this so that piece of meat is going to fit on it beautifully. Where'd that go? Oh, in the fridge.
Fridge. In the fridge.
I know. So it's been in the fridge for half an hour. Get set up a little bit. You want to put it on the puff pastry right in the middle with the prosciutto on top. There we go. Looks pretty.
Beautiful.
Okay, and I'm going to get some egg wash, which is basically 1 egg with a little water. And I'm going to put it, it's going to help seal the puff pastry.
It's a whole egg though, right?
Yeah, whole egg. And a little bit of water, a couple teaspoons of water just to thin it out. There's the other piece I'm going to, thank you. Glad you're here.
Assistant. Vanna White.
Gonna get this one a little thinner as well. This is just 2 sheets, it's only 1 package. And I'm gonna take this easily. There we go. And I'm just gonna put it right on top. And I'm gonna seal it in that egg wash. Just bring it on. You don't want it to leak. And you're gonna tuck it in. There'll be some excess here, which I will trim off on this edge. There we go. You don't need
The
this.
whole thing.
Yeah. You can, if you want to have something festive, you can put cinnamon and sugar on that.
Yeah.
Put it in the oven and
pie roll-ups, we always called them in our family when somebody was making pie or
Oh, yeah.
or any pastry. The leftovers were the best part.
Yeah, they are.
Sprinkle sugar and cinnamon, twist them up, bake them in the oven, pop them in your mouth.
Yeah, not bad for leftover stuff. So, then I'm going to egg wash this one more time. I want to pinch this so it's all sealed.
I'll do that for you, Jim.
Wash that, and I will get the tray ready. Wash my hands. So now that it's egg washed, you're going to make a little bit of marks in it. You want to release the steam.
Make it pretty.
Make it sort of pretty. It'll get prettier as it puffs up.
Yeah. We always have a little design.
Yeah. And if you have leftover and you want to get fancy, you can make little flowers or something.
They can make leaves and things.
Absolutely. So I've taken a tray, lined it with foil, sprayed a rack.
So the oven's at 425, right?
Our oven's at 425. It's going to be 425 for 35 to 50 minutes. It depends on your oven. You can check it. It'll brown in about 30, but you want to cook it all the way through using one of these thermometers or whatever you have, because cooking it to 125 is going to be medium rare, and when you take it out, it will actually go up another 5 degrees from residual heat. So if you like it more medium, give it more towards the 50-minute mark, or the more like 130 to 135. But it's best with that pink in the middle.
Thermometer, very important. When you
Let me get a couple of spatulas here. This right there.
It's pretty quick and easy.
It is. It's
Such a fancy dish.
Well, like I said, it's a fancy piece of meat. It's great. It's great with Pinots. It's just we had our Friendsgiving the other day, and we had a prime rib, and we had some Cabernets, but I brought out some of our reserve Pinots, and they blew them all away. It was a happy Friendsgiving. So this is going to go in the oven, 425 for 35 to 45 minutes. I'll set it for 35.
Well, while that's cooking, we're going to talk to you a little bit about our holiday packages. We have several on our website, and they're really great for giving gifts to your friends and family or yourself. But two specifically that we want to talk about in this particular case is one of them is called Side by Side, and it also has 2 bottles of wine, and it has the pivot. And the pivot is one of our preservation systems that comes from Corvin. It allows you to save your bottle of wine for about a month. So you put the special cork in, you use the special pouring top, and it lets you keep the wine up to 30 days, which, you know, in some cases, who has any leftover wine? But just in case you do, you know. And we also have this other special one that Jim can talk about.
The other package is called the Perfect Pair, and it's salumi. It's 2 different salamis with wine made special by us from a local producer of salami, the Journeyman, and they use our Pinot Noir in the actual product. There are 2 of them, Parmesan and Porcini, and a Fennel Finocchio, that goes great as an appetizer with wine. You can even take some and make pasta with it. It's really multi-usable.
It is delicious. I'm going to tell you that when you slice it up, when you slice it up, and the porcini and the parmesan and the wine together make such a really moist, delicious salumi. It's really incredibly good. So hope you'll try it.
Yeah, it's a good holiday package.
Well, Jim, I think the Wellington might be done about now.
It's been there about
check out
45
the
minutes. And let me get it out of here.
Whoa, that looks delicious.
And let me do a temperature test on it, just to make sure. And what we're going to do is let it rest for 20-25 minutes.
Oh, perfect.
It is perfect. And I'm going to take this off and put it on a cutting board and let it rest. So the puff pastry is nice and golden brown.
Really, that looks just delicious.
So now that it's rested,
it's very important to let your meat rest because it reabsorbs the juices that in the cooking process. It also lets it cook a little bit more, so that's why you can pull it out a little bit early, and it will always come up a little bit more temperature.
get a nice sharp serrated knife. It helps cut right through
I
it.
know, I bought an electric knife for Thanksgiving,
Uh-huh.
and turned out turned out that they're really handy for things
Yeah.
kind of like this, where you don't want to press down hard.
Oh, medium. This was done medium,
I kind of like my meat like that too. Okay.
and it's still got pink in the middle. This is what it's going to look like on here. Uh-oh. Get the screen off on that. So it's got pink in the middle, it's got the duxelles and the prosciutto at the top, and we're going to put a little sauce on it and a little side dish. So let me do a couple more.
And we gotta eat, you know.
And that is, make sure it goes with the Pinot.
We're part of the quality control here to make sure that the food is delicious.
This out of the way. So I'm gonna dish this up with a little bit of spinach, a little sauteed spinach. And we're gonna put a little sauce with this red wine and Madeira. There we go. And a little spinach there. The sauce is going to be beef stock reduced down with some shallots, but sauteed shallots and garlic. Put in some marsala or red wine. This has a little bit of both. And then you cook it down till it thickens up. And it's a wonderful accompaniment.
So you cook with the same wine you're drinking?
Absolutely. As long as you don't need bottles and bottles of it. But this is how it looks with the sauce on it. And we'll give it a little try.
That looks yummy.
So this is the best part of cooking,
really is.
friends. You get to have the wine, and this is again beef Wellington with the red wine Madeira sauce, duxelles and prosciutto wrapped with some sauteed spinach, and it should be a match made in heaven. I'm glad you could join me for this one.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Cheers.
Cheers. Well, I got your.
Can't wait to dig in.
I got to get your seal of approval.
Oh yeah. Looks delicious. Okay.
Okay.
A little of everything.
Mm-hmm. Good. Look.
That's so good.
And wash it down with the wine.
Just yummy. Cheers.
Cheers to the holiday season.
Happy holidays, happy cooking.
Mm-hmm. So next year we're starting with a whole new series of exciting recipes that go with our Pinot Noirs, and I can hardly wait to see you again starting in January. Have a great holiday, and here's to the good life. Cheers.
Cheers to 2022.
Yep.